Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello friends, Namaskar. Welcome to Chaitanya Studio at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Myself, Dr. Vinod L. Desai, working at Department of Computer Science, Sardar Patel University, Vidyanagar. Today, we will talk regarding cascading style sheet, various properties of CSS and its attributes. Among that, the first one is a font property. Now, as we all know that font is very important property with respect to web page designing, because the web page contains various kinds of contents. Among that, if certain kinds of font is used, then it will add value to the content of a web page. So it is very important for the web designers to take care of fonts that has been selected for designing and placing the content on the web page. So there are various kinds of font properties available in a CSS. Among that, the most important property is the font family. Font family contains various kinds of, we can say, family in terms of Georgia, Times New Roman, Arials, Lucid Sans, Tahoma, Courier News, Serif, etc. The list goes on. The second property is font size. We can provide various kinds of size to the fonts as per our requirement for the content to be placed on the web page. Okay, it may start from this small to medium to large and extra large, and it we can also provide in terms of, we can say, pixels, okay, in percentage as well. So the second property is a font size. Then after, the font style property is there, through which we can style the font, that whether the content to be placed on the web page must required to be displayed in a normal way, or it should be displayed in an italic manner or oblique. Okay, then after, the another property of a font is font variant. Okay, so there are various types of, we can say, variants available. Among that, the two is normal and second one is small caps. Then after, we can say, we can set the weights of a font. Okay, the weight may be a normal, bold, bolder, lighter, or even 100%. So let's have a look on font property with an example so that we can have a better understanding. We have already a practical based on the font, and we will see how do we set the font property for our practical. So here in our HTML page, we have one style tag. Under that, we have defined various properties for the font, but let us see which are the, we can say, selectors on which we want to apply this. Okay, so we have a body tag in a document. Then after, we have one division having a class ID parent. Then we have a subdivision, that means a child tag parent within the parent tag division, which is having a class child. And then after, we have simply a message in a division: welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Okay, now let us see how this content of a division tag is we can say styled using the font property, various font properties. So simply what we have done, we have just used a universal font here, font property, which is what applicable in terms of all. So we have used oblique, small caps, bold, 12 pixel by 30 pixels, Vardhana, the font family, and then after, font weight is bolder. Okay, this is a, we can say, comment that we are not right now applying on this. So we can say, we can set one by one like this, or we can have a universal, we can say a single line property set, we can say. Let's have a look how it is reflected and it looks on the web page. See, here it looks like this: welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Now if we will apply certain changes to this property, let us see how it is going to be reflected, or what kind of changes it reflects. let us go to the property page. Suppose instead of we can say the Vardhana font, if we will use any other one from the font family like Tahoma, okay, let us see, change to Tahoma, how it reflects. We will change the font family to Tahoma. Let's look whether it reflects these changes. Yes, see here. Okay, small changes it is reflecting with a font family. Now if we'll change this property, okay, instead of 12 pixel by 30, only keep 30 pixels. How it reflects, let's see. See here, it brings down, okay, by one line or half of the size of the line. Okay, keep as it is. Then if let us change another property, okay, instead of we can say bold font weight, let us make it bolder or lighter. What happens? Okay, instead of bold, let us make it bolder. How it reflects, let us see. Okay, again it takes 2 off, but there is no change, especially in a weight property, by making it bold or bolder. Then after, let's go for the light property, lighter, not light, it's lighter. So the proper word should be, a value should be provided, then and then it will be reflected, otherwise it will not reflect the changes that we are expecting. Okay, again there is no change in the, we can say it may be a little bit, but it is not reflecting, okay, the lighter property. So the font weight you can provide anyone, or even you can have a normal, okay. You can have a normal value for the font weight. Let's have a normal font weight property value. Now reflect it again. So it comes the same manner, little bit changes, it is reflecting. Then after, we can say instead of oblique, we can make a font style italic and see how it reflects. Italic. Okay, it's already in that, we can say, italic manner. Okay, so either we can apply this one, or we can okay, let us remove the content from the individual font property settings and check how it reflected. We will just remove the last 2 property set lines of the parent class, and let's refresh this. Okay, so here simply, okay, presents in a normal font, welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, with an individual font family and font property and its value. Okay, it's a Vardhana, then monospace is there. Okay, you can have. So by this way you can set the property of the content that you want to display on a web page. Okay, either on the parent, and it's a, we can say, child, and upon that the parent class is already there, so the property will be applicable to the child as well. Okay, there are another 2, we can say, absolute length and relative length concept is there with respect to the, we can say, font property. Okay, so here it is a relative units for the font, and the absolute units for the font are like this. Let's have a look. So you must be aware that what are the absolute measurement units for the font. Okay, 1 centimeter, 5 cm, we can say mm units, 0.5 inch, 50 pixel, 50 points, okay, and 5 picas, like that. So these are the absolute units for the presentation of our content on the web page for the font property. Okay, let's have a look while executing the absolute measurement units of the font. You should know, okay, being a web developer, we must have an idea about the absolute measurement and relative units of the font, and then so that we can provide the actual value for our content. So this is what the absolute measurement units for our font. The same way we can have a relative measurement units. Let's have a look for all those relative length units. So it is what EM is there, EX is there, CH unit is there, okay, RAM unit, res unit is there. Likewise, different we can say parameters is there for the relative measurements, and we have applied it on this, okay, paragraphs, line height by 0.1 centimeters, everything. So let's have a look while running these relative units of the font family. It will look like this. So this is what the actual relative reflections of the property of the font. Moving next is the background property. Okay, after setting the font property for the content of the web page, we can set the background property of the content for the web page. So the background property is a shorthand property, we can say. Okay, earlier we seen that in the single line we were providing the font properties in terms of size, its style, family. So that was known as shorthand property, okay, for this font. And the same way there is a shorthand property for the background, okay, in terms of background color, background image, background position, background size, background repeat, background origin, background clip, and background attachment. Okay, if let us have a look at each one. The background repeat, what does it mean? So by default, the background repeat image property is, we can say, it repeats on both sides, either horizontally or vertically. For horizontally, set background repeat, that means repeat X. For vertically, set the background repeat Y. Okay, so it vertically the image or whatever content that will be repeated. For showing the background image only once, set background repeat no repeat. Okay, that means if you specify this value no repeat, then it will be displayed only once, it is not going to be repeated. Next one is background position, where we want to position it. So the background position property is used to specify the position of the background image. Its value may be either left top, left corner, center, left bottom, right top, right center, right bottom, center top, center, and center bottom. So among any one, we can set the value as per our requirement. Then after the background clip property is there, so it specifies how far the background should extend within an element. Okay, up to what extent the background will extend to the element or within the element. Its value may be, we can say, default value, that means border box have a default value, the background extends behind the border. Padding box, the background extends to the inside edge of the border. And content box, the background extends to the edge of the content box. So these are, it is going to be applied on the CSS box model objects, maybe a content box, padding box, or border box, we can say margin box would be there. But we can say the property of background clip is going to be set based on the padding box, content box, or border box, we can say. Then after, background attachment is there. That background attachment property sets whether a background image scrolls with the rest of the page or is fixed. Okay, the scroll property, the background image will scroll with the page. This is default. Fixed, the background image will not scroll with the page. It will remain fixed. Local, the background image will scroll with the elements content only. So this value will reflect as per the content we have set in a web page. Then background origin property. So the background origin property specifies the origin position, the background position of a background image. This property has no effect if background attachment is fixed. Okay, so then the earlier if the background attachment property is set to fixed, the origin will have no effect. So you should be careful while setting the origin property. Then you have to make sure that it is not fixed, attachment is not fixed. Okay. Then we can say padding box. The default one is the background image starts from the upper left corner of the padding edge. Border box, the border background image starts from the upper left corner of the border. Content box, the background image starts from upper left corner of the content. Okay, not border. So border box and content box, that means it will start from the border and it will start from the left corner of the content. Then background size. The background size property specifies the size of the background image. Property values may be auto, default value. The background image is displayed in its original size. You can have a length value, sets the width and height of the background image. The first value sets the width and the second value sets the height. If only one value is given, the second is set to auto. Percentage sets the width and height of the background image in 1% of the parent element. The first value sets the width, the second value sets the height. If only one value is given, the second is set to auto again. Cover resize the background image to cover the entire container, even if it has to stretch the image or cut a little bit of one of the edges. Contain value resize the background image to make sure the image is fully visible. Okay, so these were all the properties of the background and its values. Let's have a look with a practical one so that we can understand how do we set background properties, various properties of background on our web page through a CSS styling. So we have one, we can say a body element selector. So we are applying all this effect on the body of our web page. So in body we have simply a one header, that is the background property, and one paragraph is there which indicates welcome to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Okay, now on this content we are applying each border property to understand. Okay, first of all, see here we have set the background color, that is cyan. Okay, only this. Okay, we can say another one that we will see later on. Then after, see here in a background image we have set a URL. You can provide the image in a background by specifying a URL value, and then after the image path, that what image you need to display in a background. Okay, and we have kept its position, see a left top. Okay, we have set it a left one. Let me to cut this hole so that you can understand. Let me to cut one and try to run this background property application. We can have an idea whether how it looks if we are setting this program. So see here our background property is set, but it is repeating, okay, in both the sides. That means vertically and horizontally. Now let me to paste the earlier set properties and we will test one by one. Position is already set, top left. We can say another one is, okay, background size is auto. We have set it auto, but we can set it either contain, cover, 50%, 30 pixels, 60 pixel, that we will see. We have set no repeat. Okay, let's have a, we can say look at our browser, refresh it. So now the no repeat is applicable. So our, we can say image is set to top left as per our requirement, as we see that it is positioned. Okay, the background is positioned where? The background is positioned left top. Okay, and we have a set property, a background repeat is no repeat. so it is not going to be repeated. Now if I want to move from, we can set left top positions to right top, then I will simply put, instead of left I will write right top, and then let's check it whether it is reflecting or not. See, so this way you can set the background in a different position on your web page. Okay, the background size is set to auto, but you can change it to anyone. Okay, if you will put 50%, then see what happens. You can set is not 50%, even you can set to 60%, not an issue. As per your requirement you can set it. Let's refresh the page and look. So it sets the size as per your requirement. Then no repeat. If you are specifying, if you want to repeat it on a, we can say horizontally, then repeat X value should be provided. Okay, instead of no repeat, if you specify, say here, repeat X. Okay, so what happens, let us see how it is reflecting. So it is repeating. Okay, it will repeat the image. Same way for repeat Y, then space, round. You can change the repeat property of the background. Then background origin is a content box. You can set it to border, padding. Okay, and based on the, we can say the content of the body tag, it will set the origin of this. Then after border clip is, background clip is there, so it is a border box again, content, padding, or so you can set is as per your requirement. So this is all about background property and its various values that helps us to set the image or any other objects on in a background of our web page. Moving next is a color property. So as we know that there are various kinds of color available, and that we can use to make our font and the look of our web page very attractive. So colors are displayed combining the RGB, that means red, green and blue light. Colors can be specified in different ways. Okay, there are various ways to define the colors. And default one, or the very easy or simplest way, is to define the colors using RGB. Value specified with the RGB, that means red, green and blue. So the value of each one will be provided in the range of 0 to 255. Then after RGBA pattern is there. RGBA color values are an extension of RGB color values with an alpha channel, which specifies the opacity of the object. Okay, it provides the opacity. RGBA color is specified with the RGBA function, which has the following syntax. RGBA requires red, green, blue and alpha in terms of opacity. So if you will provide, the value will be alpha from 0 to 0, 0.0 to 0.1. That means 0.0 is a full transparent, while the maximum 1.0 is a fully opaque. Then after, we can say hexadecimal colors are there. We can say syntax to provide the colors through the hexadecimal syntax. So hexadecimal color is specified with hash, RR, GG and BB. Okay, so RR stands for red, G stands for green and B stands for the blue. And hexadecimal integers between 00 and FF specifying the intensity of the color. To add transparency, add 2 additional digits between 00 and FF. So it will add a transparency. Then after, another way to set color is HSL colors. HSL stands for hue, saturation and lightness. It represents a cylindrical coordinate representation of colors. An HSL color value is specified with the HSL function, which has the following syntax. It requires the argument in terms of hue is a degree on the color wheel from 0 to 360. Saturation is the percentage value. 0% means shade of gray and 100% is the full color. Lightness is also percentage. 0 is black and 100 is white. Next way to set the property of the color is HSLA colors. Colors values are an extension of HSL colors values with the alpha channel again for the opacity, which specifies the opacity of the object. HSLA color value is specified with the HSLA function, which has the following syntax. HSLA requires the argument of hue, saturation, lightness, and the extra one was, you can say, the opacity in terms of alpha. Its value will be from 0.0 to 1.0. Okay, so now let's understand this color property with the help of example. We have already used each kind of colors on our web document. See here, we have various paragraphs with different IDs. Okay, one paragraph with the ID name, then P1 ID, P2 ID, P3, P4, P5 and P6. Okay, for each kind of color mechanism, and we are providing these colors with different values of each mechanism. See here, background color is what in the first we have used RGBs are simply a color name, then after hexadecimal manners. Okay, with here the hexadecimals with another 2 digits for transparency. Okay, then after RGB mechanism is applied, then after RGBA, HSL and HSLA. Okay, now let's run the documents to understand its effect. As we can see that each color technique is reflecting its power to display the content in a various color combinations. Okay, so this way we can set the color property of our web document. Okay. Moving next is a text property, which is very important for formatting the text of our web page. It is used to format the text, style the text and perform different types of manipulations like word spacing, alignment, justification and text transformations. Text color property is there. This property is used to set the color of the text, and the color can be set by using the various techniques that we just discussed few seconds ago. Then after text align property is there. It is allowed and used to specify the horizontal alignment of text in an element inside a block element or table cell box. Text align last. It is used to set the last line of the paragraph just before the line break. It sets the alignment of all the last line occurrings in the element in which the text align last property is applied. Text decoration property is used to decorate the content of the text. The text decoration color property can be set. Text decoration line property is set, okay, in which we can provide the values like underline, overline, line through in both the ones. While text decoration style, we can provide the style in terms of dotted line, wavy line or dashed lines. Let's try to understand this text property with the help of example. Okay, we have a text document containing the content of our web page on which we are providing a various text formatting, text styling. Okay, so let us say our web document contains headers, paragraphs with different IDs. Okay, and division block is also there, and one anchor tag is also there. So on which we are providing various text properties. See here, text indent, text alignment is center for header 1, text we can say transform is there, uppercase to lowercase, then color is there, text decoration is provided, underline, dotted. Okay, same way for we can say ID P1, text indent we have provided 50 pixels, text alignment is justified, text spacing we have provided 3 pixels, text decoration is line through, colors, etc. Okay, if we want to understand it practically on a single line, then we can cut it out, or we can say let how the whole page looks like while setting different properties of the text. First we will run it, then after we will make a modification. So all the properties that we have applied on this text document, it will reflect the changes in this manner. Okay, all kinds of text properties. Now if we change it somehow, then how it is reflecting, that we will see. Okay, now make few changes in different properties on a particular block. Okay, suppose header 1 is centered. Now you can put it left alignment, suppose left, and see how it changes, how it reflects the changes. So our header is moved to left side. the alignment property. Then if text transform is uppercase instead of lowercase, just put a value lower. Okay, and save it, refresh it. So it turns into a lowercase, as we can see. Same way for if you will go for the text spacing in a paragraph 1. Paragraph 1 contains what? Let us see the text first. Paragraph 1 contains Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University content. Okay, so its text spacing is 3 pixels. Now instead of that, let's make it 8. Okay, save it, and before refreshing, let's see Babasaheb's second line. Okay, now it looks like this, but after moving from 3 to 8 pixels, let's refresh it. So now it reflects the changes as text spacing, we can see. So this way you can make a modifications for your content to be displayed on the web page. Text decoration properties line through, you can set it to another one. Okay, text decoration contains line through, underline, overline. So let's have an underline property, change to underline and see how it reflects. Underline. Okay, underline. Now refresh the page. So now it from the previous property set, it returns to the underline property. So this way we can make various changes in the text property and its values. We can reflect the content and make it attractive on our web page. Then after text indent, text justification, text overflow property is already there. Okay, then after we can say text transform property is there. We have converted lowercase uppercase. Text shadow is already there. Letter spacing we already provided. Line height, directions from left to right and right to left if you want to move. Word spacing we already set. Okay, direction is having 2 values, RTL, that means right to left, and LTR, left to right. So you can provide it somewhere. Yeah, see here the direction is already provided RTL for the paragraph 2. Okay, so paragraph 2 contains, let's RTL to left to right. So here we left, and LTR we will move from right to left, left to right. Paragraph 2. Okay, so now let's refresh it. Earlier it looks like this, now let's refresh. So it is changed. Okay, now it moves from left to right. So these are various text properties that we can set for our web page content. Okay friends, thank you very much. In this session we learned about various property and its values to be applied on our web page to make it more attractive and user friendly and add its effectiveness to the content. Thank you very much.